We'll call this meeting to order. The City Council, it's March 19th. I've asked Councilman Perks to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance if you'd like to join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and welcome to all of you. It's good to see a crowd here tonight. That doesn't always happen, so welcome. Glad to have you. We have I guess we need a roll call. Ms. Harris, will you help us with that?
Sure. Everyone is present, so we do have a quorum.
Thank you. We have an agenda before us. Is there any concerns with that agenda before we move forward? If there are none, I entertain a motion to approve it as it's been prepared.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Sellers, a motion. Mr. Welling, seconding. Any discussion on the motion? If there is none, all in favor say aye. 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 Are there any opposed? We have an agenda. We have the council minutes for March 5th. Any concerns regarding those minutes? If not, we will acknowledge those as they've been prepared, and we will go to the bills. We've got a warrant register with today's date on it. Ms. Lim is not with us tonight, and we'll excuse her. She's on the way to see a new grandchild, so we're excited for her and hope that she has safe travels. But if you've got any questions on any of those, we can do our best to answer them in her absence. Is there a motion to approve the bills?
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Mr. Perks.
I'll second.
Mr. Lynch, seconding. Any discussion?
Smaller amount than I've seen for a while.
That's correct. And that's a good thing. Further discussion? No further discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That takes care of the bills. Council comments. Mr. Lynch, what's on your mind tonight, sir?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Nothing. Nothing?
I have nothing tonight.
Mr. Welling.
Oh, happy first day of spring for the wonderful days we're going to get. The snow hits Saturday and Sundays, but just welcome everybody for coming tonight. Appreciate your interest in what's going on in the city.
Just a couple quick things. For those who didn't know, 988 got funded with a base amount, so it was always questionable if we were going to be able to keep 988 in Wyoming. And Conrad got us, worked hard and got $10 million, and thanks to the Uinta Suicide Task Force for really helping push that along. And then also Celtic Festival is going to be in town this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Roundhouse. Thanks for the city for all their help and everybody else who's participated in the community. There's been a lot of businesses and a lot of people who've put effort forward, and those who have done that, appreciate it, and go out and enjoy yourselves.
I think they're still looking for volunteers too.
Thank you. Ms. Hageman.
Just like to thank all the veterans that are serving and the service members, both men and women. And this is the last time we'll be together for celebrating our Women's History Month. Wyoming has quite the extraordinary history for women in this state, and so I'd like to give a special shout out to the men and women, but especially the women right now that serve in all capacities for our state and our nation.
Excellent. Thank you. I'll just add to your comment regarding spring. It's a good to have spring and the first day of spring, but we should hang on still for a while yet for the snow shovel. Don't put the snow shovel away just yet. But it is nice to see the sun and the snow starting to melt a little bit now. We have no public hearings or special orders. We do have one consent agenda item. Is everybody comfortable with that item? If so, I will entertain a motion to approve our consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Welling with the motion, Mr. Sellers seconding. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved. Thank you, Mr. Pence. We have no unfinished business. We have some new business, and we'll start there with the motion to accept bids for excess surplus property from public auction. I don't know. We just need a motion on that. We're all aware of what that is. Is there a motion to accept the bids for our surplus property?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Lynch.
I'll second.
Mr. Welling seconding. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That is approved, and we appreciate those bidders. Hopefully they'll get good use out of all those. I still want the Jeep. Whoever got the Jeep, I'm jealous, I think.
Joe.
Somebody's going to make some money on that Bronco.
I hope it would have been a fun project. That's excellent for them. Our next is Resolution 2411. Mr. Harris, will you read that title for us, please?
Well, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Resolution 2411, a resolution of the City of Evanston, Wyoming, authorizing the execution of a waterline development agreement with Uintah County School District Number 1, State of Wyoming.
Thank you, sir. Will somebody be presenting this, or?
Yes, I can present that, Mr. Mayor, and Mr. Newsom is here if he has some questions from the engineering standpoint. As the council will recall, last fall, Uintah County School District approached the council at a work session to talk about my term, the Evanston High School water line. That water line that ran on the west side or through the campus of the Evanston High School, connecting in Twin Ridge, and running all the way down Red Devil Drive to West Cheyenne Drive. The proposal was to replace that with a 12-inch line, and the information was provided about estimated cost, which at that time I think was about $900,000. I drafted a waterline development agreement and gave that to Mr. Barker before he left. He then forwarded that to the school district. They had a couple changes. I made those changes. I sent it back to Dean, and then Dean left. So when Mr. Newsom came on, when Damon came on, we were well on our way, and quite frankly, I forgot that we had prepared it and it was sitting there. The project went out for bid. The council has the bid results in a bid tabulation that was furnished by Uintah County School District Number 1. The apparent low bidder is Lewis & Lewis for $1.2 million, and the base bid was $1 million, so they're about $100,000 over, and then when you add the allowances, it's about $250 total over what the engineer's estimate was. So we presented this waterline development agreement. The council has a copy of that. There is one thing, if I could, Mayor, approach the council. On page 3 of the agreement that you all have, you may notice that in subparagraph J, there are some blanks in there. And if I can, Mr. Mayor, after I sent this to the clerk to send out to the council, I received some information from Mr. Sanders about some force account work and amounts. And so you'll see in this handout, I put in the force account $50,000 that came from the buildings. And that provides basically that the school district has $50,000 to work with on the force account without going through the formal change order process. So that's where that figure came from. That is in the bid specs that were put in. If you look at that, that's item number 4. says owner force account, so that's where those figures came from. Any extensions of time for the project would have to come back and be approved by this body and Uintah County School District 1. Uintah County School District number 1 is going to contract with Lewis & Lewis. But we reviewed the bid results, we reviewed, and we would review any change orders for extensions of time, as well as anything that exceeded the force account work. So this agreement just sets forth what the responsibilities of each parties are. This will allow us to increase the size of that line to 12-inch. Remember, we talked about that, which is important because we've already seen, you saw in another work session recently, the burnt or burn hill, whatever, that addition is going to be supplied by this extended line. So they're going to hook on that because it's required for fire flows when we get up on top of
the hill. Yeah.
So if there are no questions, and if Mr. Newsom, if there's any questions,
Okay.
let me know. But that approves the agreement. Oh, I'm sorry. The school district, I think, will approve that at their meeting on the 9th of April. The bid and the
I think this is a good project myself. It's a good partnership between us and the school district, and it does pose some opportunities for the city moving forward, so independent of the school district. So I do know that there's been some issues with that line in the past, and we've been reluctant to, as a city to be involved in the maintenance of it, and this will fix some of those concerns that we've had for the last few years. Is there introduction on this resolution?
I'll introduce with a motion to pass.
Mr. Lynn with a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Welling seconding. Discussion.
I think it also will help any future development. We have not just a burnt hill, but anything up that, because that water line is going to have to supply any other development further up that way, right? Is that correct? Southwest, yeah.
Yes.
This is needed, and the amount, it's a lot higher than the original estimate, and both the city and the school has agreed to that higher bid amount from Lewis & Lewis?
yes, the engineer's estimate was, I think, was 800,000 with
Yeah,
allowances.
818, yeah.
818, and they had recognized there would be allowances, so 400 on the without the allowances, and then if you add those in, you know, it's about 300.
It's definitely needed, along with the extra water line going up to the tanks on Twin Ridge Hill to help supply all this. So.
Further discussion.
I think with all the things that are possibly coming as far as economic development, that area needs to be developed. I just have such a hard time anytime the bids come in so much more than what we're estimating. So that always irks me. So
That is concerning. It always seems like that's the way it is, though.
yeah.
It seems
Hard
be
to
that
keep
way.
up with inflation when you do an estimate one year and by the next year costs have really inflated. So.
Further discussion. Got a motion and second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? It's approved. Resolution 2412. Mr. Harris, please.
Resolution 2412, a resolution of the City of Evanston, Wyoming, authorizing the execution of an amendment to the cooperative agreement with the Wyoming Department of Transportation for funding to be used in the reconstruction of a portion of City View Drive.
Mr. Newsom.
Mayor, members of the council, good evening. Damon Newsom, City of Evanston engineer. The reason behind this is really a formal update to what YDOT calls Exhibit B. It's the cost portion of the agreement. Back in probably about summer of 2020, the initial agreement was presented to the council, probably through Dean, and that was signed and executed. Ultimately, after the project was finally let to the contractor, this is their mechanism to bring those costs back formally. We knew what the costs were when the project was let. But in YDOT's world, it's just formality as an amendment to the current agreement that was already pre-signed a couple of years ago. So that's really the intent of what this is.
Okay. This has been this project in particular has been needed for some time. If you've driven City View Drive, we all know that it's in need of some repair, and we have been told, and in fact I have been told over the past by some of your predecessors who say that quite honestly City View Drive has lasted longer than perhaps it should have, owing to its original construction back and the time frame around that. So it's probably held in there longer than it might have otherwise done, but this is a needed project. And having said that also, it's probably another good time to remember that this summer, for everybody's information, this summer is going to be a difficult summer with City View Drive being under construction and the overpass that's pending, all that. It's just, I'm hoping that we as a community are just patient as we can possibly be with the contractors and the guys doing the work and YDOT and all that, because it's going to be a difficult summer.
There's a lot of work going on within YDOT, all the work at the roundhouse and water lines. It'll be a busy summer for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
And the intent with this agreement with YDOT is yes, it's a city road, but it's the type of funds that are utilized, urban systems funds, is really what started this project. And so YDOT is still the administrator, and they, in essence, manage the project, and that's how YDOT's involved with this respective section of road.
And I appreciate you bringing that up. That's excellent information. The other thing to consider in connection with that is, quite honestly, if it were not for YDOT and the urban systems opportunities, maybe is what I'll say, is we would have a very difficult funding this type of a project. So it's funding-wise, it is a great benefit to the city to partner with YDOT in this way. So for that, we are very, and honestly, appreciative of your work historically when you were prior to your position with the city and your position with YDOT. That's been beneficial for some time. So, is there introduction on this resolution?
I'll introduce with a motion to pass.
Mr. Sellers with a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Lynch seconding. Any discussion?
I think you should call Mr. Mills and tell him personally that this is going to get done.
I'll give that some thought. I appreciate that. I appreciate that reminder.
The timeline of starting the work, from what I've been told by the contractors, latter part of April, start bringing in equipment and hopefully get done before school starts up again in the fall. So.
Excellent. Any further discussion?
Thank you.
I'm sorry?
I travel that road quite often. Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge for that neighborhood one more time. They've had to deal with water lines and everything, just patience, and we'll have it done by winter, and they'll have a new road and no more water problems. It's been a challenge for that neighborhood for several years. So
That is the goal.
God bless them, but we're almost to the end of it.
If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved. Thank you, Mr. Newsom. Resolution 2413. Mr. Harris, read that title for us, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2413, a resolution of the City of Evanston, Wyoming, authorizing the execution of a memorandum of understanding with the State of Wyoming Office of Attorney General, Division of Criminal Investigation, to provide funds to the Evanston Police Department for the High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Program.
Thank you, sir. Chief.
Yes, sir. Michael Branch, City of Evanston Police Chief, Mayor, members of the council. This is a reoccurring contract we've done with the State of Wyoming Attorney General's Office and Division of Criminal Investigation ever since I've been employed here. It allows us to provide one full-time officer as a task force officer of the Wyoming Division of Criminal Investigation to focus on drug crimes and other multi-jurisdictional crimes. Gives us buy-in into some of the investigations and helps give us some direction. So it's been beneficial to the city. Under the contract, through the HIDA grant, they provide all the wages, including the overtime, for our task force officer.
Excellent. Thank you. Is there an introduction on this resolution?
I'll introduce it with the motion to pass, Your Honor.
Mr. Perks, with a motion, Mr. Welling seconding. Discussion.
It's a good program.
Absolutely. About how long have we been?
You know, I was trying to think that tonight coming up here, and I know that they've had task force officers since before I started, and I'm not sure when I would speculate probably around the 1980s sometime.
Oh, that far
I
back.
don't know if Councilmember Welling remembers or not.
I started in 92 and I got it before then, so
He's certainly old enough to remember, even if
I can remember. That's the important thing I can remember. So, yeah, it's a good program.
yes, it is.
Great, you should be involved with it.
Any further discussion? If there's none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved.
Thank you, sir.
Chief. Resolution 2414. Mr. Harris, please.
Mr. Mayor, Resolution 2414, a resolution of the City of Evanston, Wyoming, authorizing the execution of a memorandum of understanding with the Board of County Commissioners of Lincoln, Uinta, and Sweetwater counties of Wyoming, and cities and towns located therein regarding impact assistance funds associated with construction of the proposed West Soda Plant located near Granger in Sweetwater County, Wyoming.
Thank you, sir. I assume you'll present
Yes.
this as well,
Yeah.
please?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. O'Neill had to be in Mountain View tonight. You might recall a couple weeks ago, I mentioned in the department head remarks this new soda plant that is proposed to be constructed near Granger. Things were moving pretty fast. There's an application pending before the Industrial Siting Council for an industrial siting permit for this project. The estimated construction costs exceed $1.2 billion. And it's actually, the mine is located some, I can't remember, there's miles between the actual mine, which is going to be solution mining, so they'll use a solution to mine it, not the hard rock as the other plants, or other mines, excuse me. And then there's a plant that they can dehydrate and then ship out on rail. When projects of this size are planned, there's a specific statutory process for measuring and allowing for impacts that are caused to public utilities, law enforcement, first responder, fire services, and roads. Not transportation, but roads. There is also a process that initiates a percent of sales and use taxes gathered, collected during the time of construction, to be sent back to the impacted communities, including counties, cities, and towns, in the area of influence of the plant, or the mine, in this case. And by virtue of the formula set forth in statute, that amount of impact funds available for distribution exceeds $25 million. So the area of impact is to Sweetwater, Lincoln, and Uinta counties. And all four of the municipalities in Uinta County, and the city of Green River, Rock Springs, and the town of Granger, and maybe the town of Superior in Sweetwater County. And in Lincoln County, it's South Lincoln County and Cokeville, Diamondville, and Kemmer. Oh, and Opal. Can't forget Opal. So last week, there was a meeting of the county's representatives and the city's representatives, and by virtue of the fact that I was the low person on the totem pole, I got designated to sit in for the city. We received some information on some calculation of impact assistance from the city of Rock Springs, and Mr. O'Neill then made a calculation of impact for the city of Evanston based upon that modeling. And it's a modeling that's based upon the amount of employees plus family members that would be average and at a peak for that plant. The average population increase is 1,007 people for a 2-year period of time. That doesn't, I do not believe that includes the permanent. I think they said there's 200 permanent employees projected. So through a calculation based upon total accommodations for permanent housing, RV sites, and hotel and motel rooms, and the city of Evanston's proportionate share of those categories to the total, you can then run a calculation about what the impacts are to house those employees, families, and family members during that period of construction. And that is 25 and 26, those years, 25 and 26. So using a formula that we believe is justifiable, because we're going to have to justify this to the Industrial Siting Council, Mr. O'Neill's calculation was that the city of Evanston has demonstrable impacts of $687,786. And those are paid out of that $25 million basket. And so all of the counties and the communities that were impacted, and obviously Wamsutter is not in there, but nor are the North Lincoln County municipalities. But of all of those in there, the total requests for impacts were $20,410,461. So what will happen next is there's a memorandum of understanding, which the council has, that was drafted, and then that attachment to that is attachment A. And I apologize for the quality of the print, but it's hard to read, but that's the way I received it from Sweetwater County Court. When it was scanned, it wasn't scanned in on a high resolution. But if you look down to Evanston, you can see that number's 687, 786, 51, and then our total is 3.3% that you see there. That would be the percent of the total of that, and that total is the 20,014,000. So what will happen is we will, at the appropriate time when this project comes on before the Industrial Siting Council, which will be end of April or 1st of May for some pre-hearing conferences, we will either with the county and the other municipalities in the county make a presentation about our impacts, and then be available at the hearing May 16th and 17th to answer any questions they may have. But if our analysis is held up, and I think it's good, then you could see $687,000 in impact assistance come back.
Excellent.
The city. That's the city share.
Okay. This is a good project in my mind. And it's for those that maybe are not aware, Granger, of course, is in Sweetwater County, just beyond our county borders, but it certainly has the ability to impact us and impact us positively, but there will be negative impacts, and these are funds set to offset some of those negative impacts. But there's also a great many positive impacts as well.
Just to give you a heads up, there is another soda ash mine that is planned through the industrial siting process that's to be located near McKinnon, Wyoming, in Sweetwater County. And at this meeting that I attended, the chairperson of the Sweetwater County Commissioners, Chairman Richards, Island Richards, said that project, I don't know whether it's a solution mine or a hard mine, but that project is 4 times the size of this. And if this is $1.2 billion, that's going to be what, $5 billion project? So there's going to be some more things to look at May or June for us too.
So Kylie spoke to us today at Rotary, and she said she used the number $6 billion on that one, on that bigger one. And my understanding from what she said that it was going to be more of a traditional dry mine. So,
and that could be, but we'll go through the same process on that and see what we identify as any impacts. The applicant, West Soda, saw for Uintah County, Wyoming, one medical person, a physician, would be directly impacted, a law enforcement position, and a fire EMT position. So those 3 positions. And their application puts costs associated with those. One of the biggest impacts was to Sweetwater County, because there are 2 county roads that will be impacted. And I think they said that one of those is going to require a new bridge or a lot of work. So Sweetwater County's, the county's portion was over $5 million. But a lot of that's going to be county roads. So.
Okay. I do also know that the county commission addressed this issue earlier today. Yeah. Is there introduction on this resolution?
I'll introduce with a motion to pass.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
Yeah. No vote yet.
Not mine.
I don't know what I'm doing here, so sorry about that.
I'll second.
I lost my train of thought. I got people talking. Mr. Sellers, you made that motion? Mr. Lynch, you're seconding?
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure what happened here. It's got a mind of its own. I'm sorry. Any discussion?
Mr. Styles all over.
Makes you wonder. It makes you wonder who's listening.
They're always listening.
It's kind of frightening. If there's no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved. Thank you. Resolution 2415. Mr. Harris, please.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Resolution 2415, a resolution approving and authorizing the final plat for the Chronister Edition, a subdivision within the city of Evanston, Wyoming, as more particularly described herein.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jacobson.
Hey, Mayor and Council, Dwayne Jacobson, City Senior Planner. This is a proposed Chronister Edition. The location is located along County Road on the east side. Ellingford's office building, you can see that just to across the street, just to the west of the proposed subdivision. So currently, it is platted as either 4 separate parcels, I guess, or described at least as 4 different parcels. The parcels include property that's located at 198 County Road and 196 County Road and 194 County Road. There is a private drive that's also described separately from these lots that's involved with this subdivision. So this subdivision, the Chronister Edition, proposes to combine the parcel address 194 County Road, which is the larger piece located on the south side of it. And let's see. Yep, I got that right. So 194 County Road, the 12-foot wide access. Actually, I got that incorrect in the report. It's actually 196 County Road, the lot located towards the upper right corner. So there's a correction there. And the 12-foot wide private access into one lot. And it also proposes to correct errors and discrepancies in the individual boundary descriptions of the existing 3 parcels. The plat dedicates that private drive as a 12-foot wide access easement. It does provide access to this lot. And will provide access to the southern lot. Go to a blow-up view. So this property is located in the medium-density residential established zoning district. There's a minimum lot size requirement of 6,000 square feet for each lot. We're not proposing to really increase. It's just fixing errors that were done years ago. And the lots that are proposed do meet the minimum lot size requirement. As you can see, you got a lot that's 8,169 square feet. The largest one is 16,247 square feet. So that complies with our minimum lot size requirements of the city code. One of the things that is being proposed with this subdivision is to call out that 12-foot wide access as also a utility easement. There are services that are located within their existing services that serves Lot 1 and Lot 3 of this subdivision. The city does have a sewer line that bisects lots 3 and 2, shown in the kind of pinkish shade. It is an old city sewer line that runs through that neighborhood. Speaking with Wasatch Surveying, they were not able to find a legal that would give us any kind of easement or access to that. So as we plat this, we've asked them to show an easement for that. Public Works has asked for a 20-foot wide easement to access the sewer line. There are structures on the property, and so the instructions that Gordon provided was that he would like to have at least 20-foot wide access easement for that sewer line. And if need be, he would work around any existing structures. I believe that the easement that they show there does avoid any existing structures. And if I'm not correct on that, I believe, Brett, you're here.
Yeah, to the best we can.
So yeah, they've worked with that. I'd say the best they were able to. So with this minor subdivision, with any corrections that they're doing with the lots, whatever non-conforming situations there may be with existing structures, with property lines, these slight changes are not going to negatively impact that. So no problems there. The City Subdivision Review Committee has reviewed this subdivision and has expressed no concerns with it, and staff recommends approval of the subdivision subject to receiving a final plat, Mylar, and we'll receive that and issue building permits once we receive that Mylar plat.
I appreciate that. One question I've got, I mean, you say that they've got no issues with it, but that, and I don't necessarily either, other than I'd like to point out that's a very narrow access. I mean, 12-foot access is pretty narrow. Is there any concerns there? I think I'm familiar with the area, and I think the area is actually, the driveway itself is wider than that, but a 12-foot easement is fairly narrow. Were there any concerns expressed over that narrow width of the access?
I didn't receive any comments back from the Subdivision Review Committee regarding access.
And there's no minimum requirements that we have as a city that would be in conflict with that?
There isn't. Okay. Currently, there is a 12-foot easement described for the property. It does not provide access to either Lot 1 or 3 that I've seen in the title reports. Only Lot 2, with this subdivision, they'll be able to use that 12-foot access as well.
Well, if they have no concerns, I guess
But yeah, no concerns were expressed.
So is there any buildings currently over that sewer right away? I mean, because when you drive down County Road and you go back into those things, there's buildings all over them. So I haven't been down this one, but I just kind of wonder if somebody happened to plop a building right on top of that already.
There are no buildings on top of it. The one house is really close, and right in front of the porch, but yeah, nothing on top of it.
Okay.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, anything else, Mr. Jacobson?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
Is there a introduction on this resolution?
I'll introduce with a motion to pass.
Mr. Lynch, the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Welling seconding. Discussion.
So the whole point of this was just to clean up things that were not right when they were first done?
That's correct, yes.
What exactly did you change then?
There's just slight revisions to the property boundaries as the, I'll let Fred.
Sorry. Yeah, it's like, we didn't change anything. I mean, other than we just made things add up, basically. All those lines you see are where they were before. Like the 12-foot that was part of the description. We just made sure that all the other lots now have actually, they weren't any written easements, all of them, that everybody could use it. Let's put that in place so that everybody has the right to use that piece for access. Yeah, just and like I said, cleaning up some discrepancies in the descriptions and stuff.
So everybody involved is on the same page?
Right. They're all family members, and everybody's, we're just cleaning this up a little bit so they can, move on with their lives.
Gotcha.
This was actually brought by the landowners, that is their request to clean up any discrepancies among past.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir, please.
That's Councilmember Lynn's question. All of the owners are signing the plan.
Okay.
Just appreciate that. Any further discussion? If there is none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments from departments. Mr. Newsom, you're way over here. Do you have anything more to add for us tonight?
I do not, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Let's see who else is over here. Chief Ranish, do you have anything for us?
Just Evanston Peace Officers Association, we attended an Easter egg hunt March 3rd, I believe, Saturday. The weather cooperates. I'm not sure if it will, but it's on schedule.
Excellent. Sounds fun. Sounds cold. Sounds fun. Ms. Larson?
Not tonight,
Anything more, Mr. Jacobson, for us tonight? Okay, Ms. Harris? Okay. Mr. Harris? Thank you all very much. Public participation. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to address the council for any reason? Mr. Bennett, please.
David Bennett, 230 Bodine. Been there a while. Anyway, I just like to, two things I have to just say a word about. One is I do support the car show, and I'm glad that you've got that behind you and you've got the date set and everything. I'm pleased with that. It's been a good thing for the city of Evanston. Of course, I've got some old cars and I've been involved in it, and it's been a good experience for the community. It's amazing the number of people that walk up and down that street, and where we have it located, it's perfect because it sort of corrals everything in one place, and so it's one thing I think it's really good for the city of Evanston, and it's been going on, I think, for 10 years. I think it's only gotten better in the last 5, a lot more participation. I know it competes with the other car show out at the Hamlin Park in some respects, but I believe it's good to have the two, and it works out. I don't really think it's a conflict. My other question is, I'd just like to thank Johnny Pence for his effort in putting that together through the years, and sometimes it's pretty thankless in some of the things we do for our community, but Johnny is young. He's one of my past students. He's got lots of piss and vinegar in him, and he's willing to get out and do those kind of things, and I appreciate that. The other thing is I have a question, Your Honor, in regards to, maybe Public Works is where I need to ask a question, but on 230 Bodine, it's getting pretty beat up at the start because of the traffic from the schools, and then at the top, the gravel's all coming apart, and it's gotten worse through the years, and I will commend, I can't remember the individual who plows that road. He does an excellent job. And the city does an excellent job with applying the snow, and I commend you on that. And so I guess my question is, how do we know what's going to get fixed and what isn't going to get fixed, and is there a schedule?
Well, I think I can try to answer that as best I can. Mr. Robinson's not here, so if you'll bear with me. But I do know, and maybe some of these other guys, that Damon or whoever, that can correct me if I say something incorrect. However, I don't know the exact schedule, but I do know that we have instituted a few years back an evaluation and scheduling for street and road maintenance in the city, and that was an evaluation, an independent company that evaluated everything and tried to help us set a schedule. And so we can certainly look into that. When Bodine might get some maintenance, I cannot answer. I don't know the answer to that question.
I didn't know for sure.
But
I
we'll
just want some direction. I guess go to the Public Works and find out.
Gordon, yeah, and I'll ask the question too, and we can get back with you.
Because I know you've got all kinds of headaches throughout the city. I mean, we've got holes everywhere, as you well know.
Yeah.
And then the overpass is going to get ripped apart, and we're going to have lots of fun.
It's going to be a fun summer.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'll certainly look into it. I don't know the answer to that question right now, but we can look into it and see what we can find.
Okay. Thank you for your service, all of you. I know being a public servant sometimes is a pain in the ass, but I've been there, as you well know, on the school board.
We do,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Anyone else from the public would like to address the council? If there's not, we will adjourn. Thank you, everyone.